Hello everybody and welcome back to Creativity Time with my brand new furniture. So those who have been following my Instagram, Facebook stories, you'd know that last week I didn't do my usual live because I spent time building furniture. It's not all finished. I mean, the furniture's finished. I'm getting new paper storage, but you know, it's slow and steady progress, but I'm super excited to be here. Yeah, I'm not liking my ink pad, so everything's kind of in my face right now because my camera stand's closer than it usually is. But anyhow, welcome. I'm so thrilled that you have joined me. My name is Tatiana. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia and part of the 2021 Artisan Design team. I'm coming live here on Facebook. You may also be watching on YouTube, and it's probably been a while since I've recorded the live, but welcome. I'm thrilled that you are watching too. Today, my card inspiration comes from cookie decorating. I know that sounds probably a little like I've lost my mind, but I haven't. I saw this cookie and I saved it because I just thought that would make an awesome concept for a card. So here we are. Let's flip down to my table and check out what stamp set I will be using. So here it is. I'm going to be using the Merriest Moments bundle. It actually has a embossing folder as well, but I'm not using the embossing folder. We'll be using the stamp set and the dies. And I've got a little sketch. You probably can't see that fully, but I do have a little sketch here on the concept. The cookie was hexagonal. And I should say that I found it on Instagram from Pink Sugar Bakery TT. And thank you to them for the inspiration. So the concept is that there's a gilded leafing in the background and white cardstock on front and some pretty flowers on top. Hello, Joanne. So let's get started. Ooh, I'm still kind of working my way around the new space. Not that the space is actually new, but the positioning of everything. Hey, Amanda, thank you for joining me. So I need some cardstock. How's this? I'm hoping that's the right width. And I need my trimmer. And I'm just going to create my card base. The new setup is going well. I still haven't unpacked everything, but I'm loving what I've done so far. So I'm just scoring the full A4 sheet in half. I'll be happy once the cardstock storage, that's the word, comes, because then I can put my ink pads on top of that and not have them taking up a good chunk of my desk. So I only need one card base, and I need this at the full width of the card, which is 10.5 centimeters. And I'm not gonna, actually let's trim that now. So this is almost 15 centimeters. I want the gilding to be about yay wide. I'm so technical, aren't I? 3 centimeters. So 15 minus 3 is 12. So let's start with a 3 centimeter strip. And that leaves us with a 9 centimeter strip. This is how technical I get. And basically that'll go there, that'll go up here. And the gilded leafing, actually that's kind of a bit wider than I want it. Are you seeing that gap? You're probably not seeing that gap. Actually I might make the gap smaller. So that was 3. Let's go with it would be good if I line that up. Let's go with 1 centimeter. Yeah, so let's cut the top bit at 4 centimeters. Oh, good, Joanne. So the top one is 10.5 by 4 centimeters. The bottom piece is 10.5 by 9 centimeters, and we've left with this little gap, which we will gild add some gilded leafing. Now, I'm going to just vaguely position these and with a pencil mark approximately where that is so that we have an idea of where to put this. And I'm going to fold, I've already scored it, but fold and burnish that fold now. Because once we've got stuff on the front, we don't want to do that then. And I'm going to grab some Versamark and I need to get, through me. Okay, I'm just going to fiddle here for a second. I'm going to do something. Ooh. Not that you can see what I'm doing, but I'm not going to be able to see your comments in a minute if I didn't fix that up. Okay, and we need heat and stick. It comes in little round containers. I've just dumped mine into a, what do we call this? Like a Tupperware, just for ease of use. And we will need some of the gilded leaf. And I use all these, I'm going to call them crumbs, but they're not really crumbs. These are leftover bits. But for this one, we might want to grab a big leaf. So this is the container that the gilded leafing comes in. So we'll grab that. Okay, and I'm going to be very technical and just swipe the Versamark across the area where we've marked that'll be gold. And now I'm going to add the heat and stick powder to that area. Particularly making sure it is in where our pencil line is. There we go. I'm quite happy with that coverage. Let that close, and I'm going to heat set that because it is called heat and stick. So it's a bit like heat embossing, I guess you can say, but instead of getting a clear, well, in this case you do get a clear, but instead of getting gold or silver or anything, you do get a clear, but it's also remains sticky, which is perfect because we want to add the gilded leafing on top. So it needs to stick to something. And I just thought you could also use tear and tape. So I could have put on some strips of tear and tape across there, and that would have done the exact same thing. Essentially, all we need is something sticky for the for the gilded leaf to stick to. And I'm starting to think I should have used the tear and tape, because let's see how we go. We can always add another layer. I do kind of do things live and on the go without experimenting too much beforehand, because that's how I roll. So I'm picking out, I've opened a big new container just simply because I can get these big leaves and place them down. And I'm kind of working over my container here so that any bits that come off can fall into there. You can get really big sheets in this itty bitty container. It doesn't look like there's much, but I mean, look at that. I've seen bigger. I've actually got a photo somewhere. Never shared it, don't know why. Should share it. But look how big that sheet is, which is awesome, particularly when you're doing something like this where you want to cover a larger area. And I've got a feeling that we're not getting full coverage. Ooh. Which is okay, depends on the look that you're going for. But it's fun. I'm either missing your comments or you're all very quiet today. don't want that big piece. I'm going to put it down there. Making sure I'm covering that center strip. Seems like there's nothing sticky on the end there. And the heating stick didn't work too badly at all. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put this aside to the side for a second because I want to add a little bit more heat and stick to this area because I'm putting all the flowers primarily here, so that's going to be covered up and we just want a little bit more there. But before I turn on the heat tool, I want to cover that up. Joanne's got a comment. So Joanne's question is, how does the gilded leafing compare to the heat embossing? Heat embossing is definitely a lot better for more, I was going to say delicate, but that's not quite the word I'm looking for. Heat embossing is better for more detailed, that's the word, detailed things, so like sentiments and stuff. Unless this is a very bold sentiment, I don't recommend gilded leafing, big detailed sentiments, just because the detail loses. I did try that. That was one of my first ideas. But in terms of something like this or patches of gilded leafing or like beautiful, like I've shared on here before on the alcohol ink technique where I did on the lines, the gilded leaf is amazing. And what I really love about the gilded leaf is that it's so shiny. Can you see that? I'm catching my light, but it's a lot, like compared to the gold embossing powder, this is so much more golder and brighter. And I love that. Whereas the embossing powder is dull and not as bright. And heating over it is not a big deal. Like that gold has lost some of it's a bit tonally different, but that's the area that we're going to cover again anyway, so that's not a big deal. In terms of messiness, this potentially could be a lot more messy. Let's use that big piece. So I'm going to unfold it as much as I can. Place it down. Now, if there's nothing sticky in the area, it will simply not stick. It'll come off. But if you rub it, it'll rub down into little pieces. So that's why I'm kind of peeling off these bigger chunks first. So you can use your finger to rub off, or you can use because you can see I've got our retired sponge there. To be honest, that was the only thing I ended up using the sponge with towards the end once we got the blending brushes. If you use your fingers, beware, you might have gold fingertips for a little bit. A sponge doubler, that's another thing I've got here, and I just use it in a circular motion, and that's pretty effective. The other thing you can use is a blending brush. I'd use a clean one, so a clean dedicated one, but I haven't tried that, to be honest, simply because I already had these bits here. And I'm just going to check that I've covered sufficient area. So if I place those, that is perfect. I could go a bit more over here, but I'm not going to because that's where the flowers are going to go, so it doesn't hugely matter. But how cool is that? Let's just check out. Thinking of you, season's greetings. Let's try, just for the sake of experimentation, I guess. Let's stamp season's greetings on this bit right over here and gild leaf that. So the process would be the same as I've just done. But we're stamping, and this time I need to find the sentiment. I picked that one because it's smaller compared to the others. I'm going to place it right there. So I'm going to ink my stamp in Versamark. And try to stamp it straight using the grid paper behind. Hey Chris, how's it going? Thank you for joining. And now instead of dipping or putting embossing powder on, I'm putting the heat and stick. The heat and stick works exactly like embossing powder. It sticks to the Versamark ink. Can you see that? Yep. And now I need to heat it. So it's the same process as embossing powder. Just trying to catch the light there so that you can see the change. No, I don't think you're going to be able to see it change. And I think one of the tricks is not to overheat the heat and stick, because then it loses its tackiness a bit. Again, I'm going to grab big chunks of the leafing and just press it into that sentiment. So this isn't a sentiment I would usually go for with the gilded leaf, but I wanted to, I'm just showing basically. And now I'm going to see, it kind of comes into a clump. That's why I was talking what I was talking about with the detailed. But if I gently rub at that, and I wonder, I'm going to grab a clean, oops, wrong drawer. So this is a brand new clean brush, blending brush, and I'm just going to use that on top. So that was really good for cleaning all those little bits out. This will be my gilded leafing brush now. I won't keep it in the container like I do the other two things, because I can just see that sticking. But do you know, it's not too bad. I love it. It's a bit patchy, which is something that you don't get with heat embossing, but it's going to go well with our card here. So let's adhere those bits down. This bit, there we go. Just wanted to flatten the card a bit. What am I looking for? I am looking for my glue. So I'm using the liquid glue, and what's particularly good for today's card using that is that it gives me that wiggle room so that I can sit it down, the card down, and really have that all aligned up nicely. And the same for the top piece. I could have used, I would have liked to, should I say, use dimensionals to give a bit of height variation, but was it last time? Last time I went live, I used dimensionals and it kind of didn't sit straight, and dimensionals, once they're stuck, they've got a good grip. So I just didn't want to deal with that again. So we've got our pretty gold, and now we're going to do some stamping. And I'm grabbing the poinsettia. And, ooh, I went pink last time. I'm just having a moment. Do I go real red, Poppy Parade, or do I go not crazy, but a little bit different and go rich razzleberry? So, quick voting. Give me a thumbs up if you think I should do this poinsettia in Poppy Parade, so a thumbs up. And give me a love heart if you think I should go rich raspberry, and that is for this poinsettia here. Gonna give it a few moments. I'm gonna take some water while I wait. I'm seeing a love heart. I am seeing lots of love hearts from Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. Just FYI, I don't see who says the love or the likes unless you are friends with me personally, not a follower of my Facebook page. So I'm going to go with rich raspberry. And look at that, I have a nice strip of cardstock. And because it's photopolymer, I'm just going to place the piercing mat underneath. Just gives you that little bit of a better impression when stamping with photopolymer. The red rubber ones have like an inbuilt pad. Now that was very dark, stamped off. It's going to be too light. So when you come to that situation, because rich raspberry isn't a color I use often, so it's quite a saturated ink pad, what I'm going to do is move some of that ink. So I've taken a clean block and I'm moving some of the ink to one end. So I'm not wasting a lot of ink by taking it all off, but I am, and that one is ever so slightly lighter. Should have been a bit more lighter, but all good. I am pleased with that. I've just stamped a few so that I can, if I want to recreate this card, I have some up my sleeve. I'm gonna clean my stamp. The only thing I don't like about rich raspberry is how much it stains. Got to get over that. I don't like stained stamps, but then stained stamps show that they have been loved, doesn't it? And I thought we could do some holly leaves. This one has 3 different sized holly leaves. I can do some holly berries. I'm gonna need another strip of cardstock. Okay. Red also stains, so it's between 2 choices of different staining colors. Let me know, do you care if your stamps stain? Because it does bother me. I've let go a bit, but in the past it's been a little bit of a problem for me. Okay, now for some green. Let's see what got, oh, Just Jade would be perfect. Love Just Jade. Remember, this is an in color, so, and it's last year's in color, meaning April is the last month you can have it. So if you have the ink pads and you do not have the ink refills, I'd get them sooner than later, because you're not going to be able to get them, if I can speak, after April next year. And some red. Amanda. So it doesn't bother Amanda anymore. It used to when she first started card making. It's good to know that you can get used to these things. I don't know how many hollies I will need. So always stamping a few extras doesn't hurt. Great. I feel squished in this desk. All in good time. And we are going to need the coordinating dies. Where are they? There they are. Ooh. They've even got a magnet stuck to them. this is the larger of the flowers, and we need, there's the hollyberry. If I do miss your comment because I'm crafting away, I do go back and read all the comments, so please still comment, let me know, and I will reply later on. And I'm just going to use my favorite trick. It doesn't seem to hug the image like the others do, but that is the right way. It was the right way until I moved it. There. Oh, you're seeing the top of my head. I do apologize. Did wash my hair last night, so yay. This is probably the most fiddliest part, apart from arranging, but you know, arranging is a little bit more interesting. I think I've talked about this before. I'd love to do a floral arrangement course. I reckon that could really help with card making as well, simply because floral arranging, and I don't know, I feel like I don't do that as well. Do you know, that lighter one, the stamped off one, is a bit darker now than I expected it to be. And I'm liking it, so we'll cut that out. But the reason why I've snipped that off is so that I can align the rest all in one go. Sorry, I concentrate when I'm lining up my dies, and I'm going to bring out Mini Bailey. Little Miss would be so excited to know. Feeling craft. Move over everything. More like move back, but don't quite have the space for that yet. And ziplets. Place that there, and oh, it doesn't all fit. That's okay. Try to cut as much out as at once as you can, and oh, the grid paper, I only stuck 2 corners down, so it's wiggling. There we go. And let's move these down straight away and cut these leaves. And we can do some berries at once now. I do get quiet during this time. I know. It's because I'm concentrating. Or I'll start talking to myself. Like, not like that. Move it away. And we chop that off. And let's bring in, I'm going to bring them in one by one. Just easier to control. There. There we go. I've often thought, because when I upload these videos to YouTube, I do edit. So I've often thought, should I speed these bits up before uploading to YouTube so that the boring die cutting isn't... I'm just distracted now by the auto text. It said cos. That's not what I said. But what do you think? Should I speed these things up? Because in a pre-recorded video, I would either not have this part shown or I would have it all sped up. Just a little bit of market research. Got a fair few people watching, so let me know, what do you think? Do you even watch crafting YouTube videos? I think I'll just cut that last one out. Yes, speed it up. Thank you, Rachel. I agree. I think it's probably best. But I keep forgetting when I go to edit the video. Thank you for your patience and yep, the consensus is to speed it up. I should remember that. And not talk about anything important during those moments. Oh, we do want another, sorry. I do want another flower. Because 3, don't know much about floral arranging, but I do know that 3 will look better than 2. So one more. It's the last one. And my grid paper is no longer stuck down. There. Let's just stick that down. Bring our card in. And, the thing I haven't done is the centers. And my favorite little yellowy toned kind of center is not actually, oh, what do you think? Mango Melody, is that a yellow or is that more, that's a Daffodil Delight I've pulled out. So this is probably one you can't see. I've got Mango Melody in my oranges. And I think it's more of an orangey color. But I think it's just perfect for that golden look. Just finishes it off. You could die cut those circles out and put them on top separately, but I think stamping them directly on is sufficient as well. Okay, so let's do some arranging. With the lighter one more in the background, and then one large holly leaf that way, one over here. The cookie kind of had more going down this side than it did that way. Not that we need to exactly replicate the cookie or anything, but my point is that inspiration can come from the most unusual source. And I think we can place up there, and I'm really feeling this. I'm really, really liking it. Okay, now to stick it down as is. The trick. Okay, I'm going to take my take your pick tool into my left hand, and I've got the tacky end, and I'm going to use that to help me. Sometimes no. I want those more as so. Well, at least it fell glue down where I want it stuck, just in the wrong direction, so that's okay. Now, what I can do, I've placed a dot, knowing where I'm putting those tips. And I guess it doesn't matter because I'm going to cover that dot up. Smaller bits are easier with the take your pick tool. Hello, Tanya. How dare you be so late? Just kidding. Happy to have you here. Now, I'm going to add, where are my dimensionals? Yoo-hoo. Sorry, I'll just go to the adhesive drawer. Yeah. The adhesive drawer is failing me too. Well, I guess I'll use black. I prefer white dimensionals on a white card, but anyhow. And going to use minis. This is probably for some people overkill on dimensionals, but for me it is not. Though it is annoying to peel all the backings off, particularly since I cut my nails last night. But man, building furniture was chipping my nails left, right and center. Thankfully I did have nail polish on, so they were a bit protected. But yes, they did not enjoy that process. Chris, I see your comment. It's a long one, so I'm going to read that later, but thank you for sharing your thoughts. I really do appreciate to hear insights, because I don't know. I don't watch my own videos, to be honest, so I don't know what people would prefer, and I would like it. Tanya has forgotten it was Wednesday. To be honest, I almost forgot it was Wednesday. I don't know what day of the week it is. Kids had COVID tests. They were home. They're back at school today, both negative. Thank goodness. I mean, I expected them to be negative, but thought we should do the right thing and get them tested. And might change that, how that was comparatively. And it says video interrupted. Why are we interrupted? Oh. Nope. There. Sorry. Low battery. Didn't plug it in. But we're almost at the end, so there's enough battery to finish. what do we need to do? We need to decorate the inside. And normally for a white card, here's the card. Normally for a white card, I would just, that would be the inside. But lately, I have been adding my inserts into white cards. And I really like it. It shows up in person and just, it's that little bit of, I don't know how to describe it. And I should grab the envelope, which is pretty cool that I don't have to walk across the room now. Grab the envelope. It's behind me. So I'm going into the rich raspberry again, and I'm going to stamp our rich raspberry poinsettia into the corners of the card insert as well as onto the envelope, and just keep it nice and simple. There it is. Adding the golden insides. Love, love, love Mango Melody. Tanya, I missed your comment. It's disappeared. But I will look at it later. Just add that in. And can you see the white border? It just, and also the other reason why I've started to do it, the fronts are getting heavier, like in the sense that I've got the card base, which was Whisper White Thick, and then I've got those two bits plus all of those, and it just adds some weight. And then the back, if I don't add that insert, it's a lot flimsier. So it just sits better when it's more evenly weighted. So there, my friends, we have it. A season's greetings card. Just to recap, we used the Merriest Moments bundle, which comes with some dies. Comes with an embossing folder, which I'm yet to use, which is kind of strange. Let's flip to say thank you. I hope you have enjoyed and has been inspired to go and do something creative for yourself, and then perhaps, not that I've spoken about this today, but perhaps then send that little something in the mail to someone to cheer their day up or to brighten their week up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.